There comes a moment in every life when the mind becomes your greatest adversary. It whispers doubts louder than courage. It magnifies fear beyond reality. It traps you in patterns of worry and regret that seem impossible to escape. You begin to believe that your thoughts define you, that your emotions control your destiny, and that negativity is a force stronger than your own will. Yet, the Stoics faced the same battle thousands of years ago. They discovered that the mind, when trained and disciplined, can become a sanctuary rather than a storm, a fortress rather than a battlefield. Most people misunderstand what it means to control the mind. They try to suppress thoughts, ignore emotions, or push reality away, and in doing so, they amplify the very negativity they fear. The Stoics approached the mind differently. They knew that true freedom begins not in external circumstances, but in mastering your inner world. To change your life, you must first change the way you perceive, interpret, and respond to every moment. In this video, you will learn 7 brutal Stoic laws, tools designed to cut through fear, doubt, and negative thinking. These laws are sharp, direct, and unflinching. They will challenge your comfort, demand honesty, and force mental clarity. But if you embrace them, your mind will grow steadier, your decisions sharper, and your inner world unshakable. Take a deep breath now. Let the world slow down. Allow these laws to sink deeply into your consciousness. They are not just knowledge, they are practice. If you want to continue building your mental strength, clarity, and resilience, subscribe to this channel and join a community committed to mastery of the mind. 1. The law of control. There is a silent war that rages inside every human being, the war between what we can control and what we wish we could. Most people spend their lives on the battlefield of the uncontrollable. They try to bend outcomes, manipulate the opinions of others, and impose their will on circumstances that were never theirs to command. Every moment spent chasing what cannot be changed drains the mind, exhausts the spirit, and fuels negativity. The Stoics understood that suffering rarely comes from the world itself. It comes from trying to control it. Attempting to dominate what is beyond your reach is like trying to hold the wind in your hands. The tighter you grasp, the more it slips through. Recognizing this truth is both brutal and liberating. You cannot control the past, the actions of others, or the unfolding of events, but you can control yourself. You can control your thoughts, your reactions, your effort, and your focus. True power arises when you separate what is yours from what is not. Your attitude, your choices, your discipline, and your responses. These are yours and theirs alone. Everything else is merely weather passing through your life. You cannot stop the storm, but you can stand firm in it. You can decide whether to react with panic, anger, or fear, or whether to act with calm, clarity, and purpose. When you direct your energy only toward what you can influence, your mind becomes lighter. Negativity loses its fuel because it feeds on your attempts to control the uncontrollable. Inner authority rises, steady and unshakable, because you are no longer at the mercy of forces outside yourself. The moment you claim this mental sovereignty, peace begins. Practical application of this law begins with awareness. Before reacting to any situation, ask yourself, is this mine to control, or am I pouring energy into what cannot be changed? Even a single pause to recognize the boundary between control and chaos rewires your mind and weakens negativity. This is the foundation upon which all other Stoic principles are built. Master this law, and the mind that once floundered in chaos will begin to stand like a fortress. Every challenge, every criticism, every unexpected event will lose the power to dominate your thoughts. If you want to continue learning how to wield this power and reclaim control over your inner world, subscribe and join a growing community of minds dedicated to mastery. 2. The law of perception. You do not experience the world as it truly is. You experience the world as you are. Your thoughts, beliefs, and past experiences color every moment. 2 people may face the same challenge. One sees disaster, the other sees opportunity. One is paralyzed by fear, the other energized by clarity. The difference is perception, and it is more powerful than any circumstance. The Stoics taught that nothing outside you can disturb you unless you allow it. This is a difficult truth because it removes the comfort of blaming others or circumstances. When a thought of anger or fear arises, it is not the world that attacks you. It is your mind interpreting it in a way that weakens you. Recognizing this shifts responsibility back to the one place it truly belongs, inside your own mind. Perception can be trained, shaped, and refined. When you begin to view challenges as opportunities to grow, setbacks as lessons, and criticism as fuel for improvement, the same events that once triggered negativity now strengthen you. Pain becomes insight. Loss becomes perspective. Difficulty becomes the forge in which your mind grows resilient. The practical work of this law requires mindfulness. Pause before reacting. Ask yourself, am I interpreting this truthfully, or am I letting fear, pride, or habit distort it? By questioning your assumptions, you weaken negativity's hold over your mind and reclaim control over your responses. A disciplined perception transforms life. It turns fear into courage, doubt into curiosity, and frustration into focus. Once mastered, the world no longer dictates your emotional state. Your perception becomes your compass, your shield, and your guide. If you want to continue learning how to reshape your perception and strengthen your inner clarity, subscribe and walk this Stoic path with us. 3. The law of acceptance. Most of your suffering comes not from life itself, but from your resistance to it. When events unfold in ways you do not want, the mind instinctively fights, argues, and denies reality. This shouldn't have happened, you think. It's unfair. It's too much. And in this battle against what is, the mind becomes a prison. The Stoics recognize that acceptance is not surrender, it is clarity, strength, and wisdom. Acceptance is the discipline of seeing life without distortion. It does not mean you approve of what happens, nor does it mean you stop striving for better. It means acknowledging reality as it exists and acting from that truth rather than from illusion, resistance, or fear. When you accept the present moment fully, you free energy that would otherwise fuel anger, regret, or panic. That energy can then be applied to deliberate action, growth, and inner calm. Negativity thrives in the gap between expectation and reality. The more you cling to how life should be, the more it controls your mind. By practicing acceptance, you close this gap. You see events as they are, not as your mind fears or wishes them to be. Loss becomes perspective. Challenges become opportunities. Discomfort becomes training. Practically, acceptance begins with small moments, noticing your thoughts without judgment, allowing emotions to pass without clinging, and responding to situations from observation rather than reaction. Each act of acceptance rewires your mind to respond with calm and clarity, weakening negativity's influence. Through consistent practice, acceptance transforms your relationship with life. You remain unshaken by circumstance, steady in the face of difficulty, and free to act with purpose. If you want more teachings that help you cultivate clarity, strength, and inner peace, subscribe and continue walking the Stoic path. 4. The law of impermanence. Everything in life is temporary. Your thoughts, your emotions, your challenges, your victories, even the people around you. Yet most people cling desperately to what is fleeting and resist the inevitable flow of change. This resistance fuels fear, regret, and frustration, allowing negativity to take root. The Stoics understood that the recognition of impermanence is one of the most powerful tools for mental freedom and inner peace. Fear grows when we believe suffering will last forever. Anxiety flourishes when we assume the future is fixed. Grief intensifies when we treat loss as permanent. But when you embrace the truth of impermanence, you realize that no feeling, situation, or circumstance is eternal. Even the darkest storms pass, even the heaviest burdens lighten, and even intense pain eventually softens. Life moves, and so must you. Impermanence is not a threat, it is a gift. It teaches gratitude for the present, detachment from what cannot be controlled, and courage to face the unknown. When you internalize this truth, you stop fearing change and begin flowing with it. You appreciate each moment for what it is, without clinging or judgment, and you use your energy to act purposefully rather than resist futilely. Practically, the law of impermanence calls for mindfulness. Notice the transient nature of your thoughts, your emotions, and the world around you. Reflect on past challenges that once felt permanent but eventually passed. Let this awareness soften negativity, temper fear, and cultivate resilience. Through the lens of impermanence, life becomes less intimidating and more purposeful. Your mind becomes lighter, your perspective sharper, and your strength steadier. If you want to continue learning how to navigate life's constant changes with clarity and peace, subscribe and walk further into Stoic mastery. 5. The law of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the cornerstone of a strong mind. Without it, your thoughts wander unchecked, emotions dictate your actions, and impulses rule your decisions. Negativity thrives in the absence of structure and consistency. The Stoics understood that discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. The freedom to act intentionally rather than be swept away by circumstance or desire. Most people underestimate the quiet power of small, consistent acts of discipline. Waking up on time, completing tasks even when motivation fades, holding back a reactive word, or turning attention to a challenging task builds inner resilience. Each repetition strengthens your mind and weakens the hold of fear, doubt, and negative thinking. Discipline is not flashy, but it is transformative. The Stoics saw self-discipline as training the mind to obey intention rather than impulse. When practiced daily, it builds habits that protect against chaos, mental clutter, and negativity. The disciplined mind does not panic under pressure. It observes, evaluates, and responds strategically. It is the ability to face discomfort without retreating, to act even when energy is low, and to maintain integrity when distractions abound. Practically, cultivating self-discipline requires conscious action. Set small goals, honor your commitments, and resist the temptation to give in to ease. Each moment you act with purpose, you rewire the mind to prioritize long-term strength over immediate comfort. Over time, discipline becomes natural, a protective shield against negative thoughts and emotions. When self-discipline is mastered, the mind becomes a fortress, steady, focused, and unshakable. Negativity may arrive, but it no longer rules. You respond with intention, clarity, and power. If you want to continue strengthening your self-discipline and inner power, subscribe and continue walking this Stoic path. 6. The law of presence. Negativity grows strongest in the spaces where your mind is absent. When you dwell in the past, regret takes root. When you drift into the future, fear multiplies. Most suffering is not caused by what is happening now, but by your mind leaving the present moment. The Stoics understood that true mental freedom comes from anchoring yourself fully in the now, the only place where clarity, strength, and action exist. The present moment rarely harms you. It is the stories you attach to it, memories, worries, projections, that create the illusion of danger. When you anchor your awareness in the present, the noise of anxiety quiets. The chaos of imagined fears dissipates. Presence removes the soil in which negativity grows. By being fully aware, you see reality as it is, not as your mind fears or wishes it to be. Presence is not passive. It is an active discipline, noticing your thoughts without judgment, observing emotions without reacting, and responding to situations from awareness rather than impulse. Every breath, every step, every choice becomes intentional. From this grounded place, you make wiser decisions, act with clarity, and navigate life with calm authority. Practically, practice presence through mindfulness, reflection, and conscious attention. When your mind wanders, gently return to the current moment. Observe, name, and release your thoughts. Each repetition strengthens your mental focus, diminishes anxiety, and weakens negativity. By mastering presence, you reclaim control of your inner world. Fear, doubt, and regret lose their grip, leaving you steady, resilient, and clear. Presence is not just a practice, it is power. If you want to continue learning how to live fully in the present and strengthen your mind, subscribe and walk further into Stoic mastery. 7. The law of inner strength. Strength is not inherited. It is forged quietly and deliberately in every challenge you face and every moment you refuse to retreat from discomfort. The Stoics understood that true power is built from within. Life's difficulties do not break a strong mind, they shape it. Negativity loses its influence when inner strength becomes your foundation. Inner strength begins with a single realization: you are capable of enduring far more than you imagine. Most people measure themselves by moments of weakness instead of the countless times they persisted, endured, and overcame. Every obstacle you have survived, every fear you have faced, every pain you have endured contributes to an unseen reservoir of resilience. The Stoics teach that this reservoir is always available to those who cultivate it consciously. Strength is calm, not loud. It is steady, not reactive. It allows you to remain composed when circumstances shake those around you. It empowers you to act courageously even when fear whispers. Each act of patience, persistence, and discipline adds layers to your inner foundation. Each challenge, met with resilience, sharpens your mind and fortifies your spirit. Practically, building inner strength requires daily attention. Confront discomfort instead of avoiding it. Practice discipline over indulgence, and maintain presence when your mind wants to wander. Every choice to act from courage rather than fear reinforces your mental fortitude and diminishes the power of negativity. A strong mind cannot be easily shaken. Fear may knock, but it cannot enter. Doubt may whisper, but it cannot dictate action. Inner strength makes you unbreakable from within, and life becomes a proving ground where you rise instead of fall. If you want to continue building this unshakable power, subscribe and walk further into the path of Stoic mastery. If you have followed this journey through all 7 laws, something inside you has already begun to shift. Not because these teachings are new, but because you are ready to see your mind differently. These laws are more than philosophical concepts. They are actionable tools to reshape your thinking, reclaim your focus, and cultivate an unshakable inner world. They are designed to cut through fear, doubt, and negativity, and build a mind that responds with clarity, steadiness, and purpose. You now understand that control begins within, that perception shapes reality, and that acceptance frees the mind. You have learned that impermanence softens suffering. Self-discipline strengthens your inner foundation. Presence anchors you in the moment, and inner strength transforms every challenge into growth. Together, these laws create a shield that no negative thought, circumstance, or fear can penetrate. They form a framework for a mind that is both resilient and free. Transformation does not occur in a single moment. It happens in the small choices made every day, choosing clarity over confusion, courage over fear, action over inaction, and reflection over reaction. Each conscious decision rewires your mind, builds your strength, and weakens negativity's grip. This is the essence of Stoic mastery, not perfection, but deliberate progress. If you want more teachings that deepen your focus, sharpen your discipline, and strengthen your inner world, subscribe to this channel. Join thousands of others committed to walking the path of wisdom, mental clarity, and resilience. Your journey does not end here. It begins here, and every step forward brings you closer to the unshakable mind you are always capable of becoming.